Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Bourbon and Balance podcast. My name is Ryan Schaefer. This is Tully Chapman. We're together. We have a guest all the way out in California. You guys might know who he is, or maybe you've seen his mullet on the internet at some point. Hunter McIntyre, how the heck are you, man?
Good. I just finished my first cup of yogurt while I was talking to you guys. I've got 3 more to go.
Will you wait? Are you gonna eat 3 and then drink your Sailor Jerry's, or what?
I'll eat 3 and then I'm gonna eat this mush and then I'm gonna eat Sailor Jerry's. I caught myself in between meals, so I don't have enough time to really make a meal. So I'm just gonna eat with you guys.
You're just gonna crush some yogurt and mush. Who else do I know? Oh yeah, Ryan Fisher. He's like big into that mush stuff.
I don't know anybody who's really big into it. It's just a level.
It's like fine, but
it's expensive and it's convenient. Like if you went and bought those Quaker Oats, like instant packets,
sure.
Each one of those packets is like 50 cents. This is $4.99 at Whole Foods.
In California.
Yeah. In California, let me mention that. There's that California everything tax.
Yeah, everything is like $1 or $2 more expensive. I bet the temperature difference is wild right now. It's like
what's the temperature there right now?
Well, we had like a heat wave and it was like 85 degrees 3 days ago. And then it dropped down to like 35 degrees. And now we're back at like 60.
Lucky you. Yeah, it was like
22 degrees yesterday in Michigan.
I think it was 11 when I woke up this morning.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty cool.
why they call you guys Michigangsters. You guys are from the Midwest. You're
That's right.
Murder Mitten, baby.
Are you guys from like Grand Rapids or something like that?
Yes, we are.
I knew it. it.
Yeah.
What about Kalamazoo? Do you guys got any Kalamazoo in your blood?
No, we don't have Kalamazoo in our blood.
My uncle was a narc in Kalamazoo for a long time.
Damn right, dude.
Like
what do
you mean by narc?
Narcotics police officer.
Oh, I thought you meant like a tattletale. I'm like, who the hell is this guy?
Kind of.
Who's this narc?
My uncle was a professional tattletale.
So you were telling us you're living the dream. What's your what's your updated current status? What are you doing?
Well, typically if it wasn't COVID, it's like a parade of people up here at the ranch in Malibu, like every single day. So things have changed, but I've kind of just played my own safe version of my normal life, just in COVID style. I'm still traveling constantly.
Yeah.
This year I've been out of the country a couple times. I just got back from Germany about 3-4 weeks ago. I was supposed to kind of go on a campaign of competing again this first quarter, but it's going to cancel. So I'm just going to kind of just start going to every major mountain town that I want to and just go have a blast with my friends and wait for life to kind of come back to normal.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Killer.
After I'm done with you guys, I'm going to go and I'm doing an interview on the Wadcast podcast up at our buddy Crazy Bobby's house. And he serves us like bull testicles and all sorts of weird shit.
No way.
Yeah, man, you got to make life an adventure. I want
absolutely.
Yeah, eat some testicles while you're here, right?
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
So what is like your living quarters? You put it on Instagram quite a bit. I mean, it looks like insane, but you call it a ranch. Do you live with like a ranch
without horses? It's a ranch without horses. Let's be honest. There's no horses. There used to be horses here. I basically am a person who oversees a gigantic castle on top of a mountain. And we just had the conversation today. I can't like officially announce it and be like, press the purchase button, but we will turn this into like a retreat for athletes to come and work out and kind of improve their skills and mindset and everything.
Yeah.
We got 35 acres. We have 3 houses, 2 pools, 16 bedrooms, and 3 or 4 cabins on it too. So, and I also have basically my gym is as good as an Olympic training center with all the equipment that you could ever imagine. So
who outfits your equipment? You have stuff, or who does your equipment?
Interestingly enough, like I kind of started out when when I first started, I had 2 kettlebells from a company called Hampton and TRX. And then just over the years of competing, I was able to start buying things.
Sure.
I got a contract with Dick's Sporting Goods where I basically negotiated with them. I was like, hey, listen, like this is my rate. And they're like, hey, we would love to match that rate. But since this is an initial project for us, like we can't budget that. And I was like, okay, give me the rest of it in coupons for gift certificates so I can buy stuff at Dick's. I have like literally like $30,000 worth of dick stuff in there.
Nice.
Yeah,
They have Ethos equipment's actually very good. It's their kind of like mom and pop brand.
Yeah.
I got treadmills. I got Trueform treadmills. This one piece of equipment that you guys may laugh at, but is honestly going to shut down the gym industry, is this piece of equipment called Tonal. It's basically like a mechanical.
We see commercials about it all the time.
Dude, it's insane. It is literally makes my gym obsolete. I know we're CrossFitters or we like to train functional fitness.
Sure.
If you didn't do power clean snatches and the only thing you can't do on it is pull-ups, but you can do cable pull downs.
Yeah.
It basically makes your whole gym obsolete for $3,000.
Literally last night we were watching TV and my wife was like, who's going to buy that? Why would anybody buy that? I was like, I don't know, but it seems like there's a lot of marketing dollars going into it. So there has to be something that is going to catch, or they hope will catch.
I'll just put it to you this way. You could have this in a rower and in a pull-up bar. You wouldn't need anything else.
Really?
If you were somebody who just like wanted to look jacked and be in good shape.
Yeah.
If you want to go to granite games and snatch like 275 overhead, not going to help.
Yeah. It's not going to. Sure.
It's still like just an excellent piece of equipment. So I've been building that whole thing up. Rep Fitness sends me some stuff too. But for the most part, dude, I've just been building it and piecing it together for years. Like I always had so many different versions of competition. I'll get obsessed with something and build it out completely. So that's why.
Yeah.
It's
Nice. The reason why I ask is because a guy that we had on the podcast and a friend of ours, his name's Rick Court. He works for a company called Sorinex. I don't know if you ever seen Sorinex stuff.
I know Sorinex. They're
So
incredible.
like your
sweet.
setup sounds like a place that would be badass to have Sorinex, because they do like the knock on TV, like they have like outdoor racks, and
They did Joe Rogan's new gym in his new house.
Totally, but I'm just going to be honest for anybody who's listening to this podcast, unless you are Joe Rogan and have Joe Rogan money, Sorinex is not a company you want to be involved in. Like I contacted Sorinex and I wanted just basically the bolt into the wall, like, you know, basically the L structure pull-up bars. It goes into the wall and then into the ground with a pull-up bar with some J hooks on it.
Yeah.
$1,500 in like a six week back order on them. I was like, Titan Fitness, you sell this for $249?
Right.
sure.
It's definitely like the cream of the crop for sure.
Yeah.
But the reality is if anybody who's listening to this interview, is like, you don't need the cream of the crop to be the cream of the crop. I bet some of the strongest people in the world, if you look at Westside Barbell, they're training on pieces of shit. They always say like, don't have like $150 shoes and a 10-cent squat.
Yeah.
That's the reality of life. I mean,
we had Jordan
train hard.
Syatt on the show, I don't know, a couple months ago. And he actually trained at Westside under Louis. And he literally like mirrored that whole thing you just said. It was basically like, it wasn't a great facility. It wasn't like top of the line equipment.
Yeah. I mean, they like hand make half the stuff that's in the facility.
And everything there is like 50 years old, but they produce the strongest mother effers in the world. So it is what it is. Because
being a champion's a mindset. It's not a piece of equipment. Unless you're a cyclist. If you don't have a good bike, you're screwed.
So let's start in the beginning. Like what got you into athletics? And then we kind of want to take a path. I definitely want to touch on a few things because the way that I met you was through CrossFit, but like what happened before that? Obviously like Spartan Race was a huge like time of your life. You dominated that for a long time. What was that like getting into it? Maybe what were your athletics before that? Did you play sports in high school? Did you go to college?
I did sports in high school, but it was more because my parents asked me to. It was either like get a job or do a sport, which is the responsible thing to do as a parent. Like you want to fill up your kids' times, give them a little bit of attention with their life. I was more into like beer, girls, and bar fights, and I got arrested a lot of times. I was suspended and kicked out of 3 different schools. Had to go to military school. Then I had to go to rehab for a year, court mandated. So by the time I had like actually like hit puberty and was like a man at the age of 19, like I actually hit puberty like at the age of 18. I was a logger in Montana during this rehab program. And like I went from being like 5'11", 160 pounds, which any of us realizes is like basically a Gumby body. And then all of a sudden I went up to 6'2" and 215 pounds like that. And I was just like a brick. And I was like, oh, wow. And like people started taking notice of me. They're like, whoa, Hunter. I used to like walk into parties and be able to pick up full kegs over my head.
Yeah.
And was like, whoa, Hunter. I was like, this is actually pretty cool. Like being athletically dominant and caring about your physique and working hard makes a difference. And one of my my bosses at the logging job, like one day sat me down and he explained this theory to me called the bull of the mountain or mindset. I've been writing a book on it for a long time, but it takes way fucking too long. But he basically sat me down one day. He's like, do you understand that there's 8 to 10 guys working for this company, and there's, chainsaws, there's cranes, and there's trucks, and then there's men. Every single person has a job on this mountain. And if you're the slow person, then everybody else has to go slow. Like, you want to be the person who's outworking the men on the mountain and the machines on the mountain. And that's why that makes you the bull of the mountain, because you're running the pace now. And I was like, at first I was like, that was the first time anybody had ever explained to me, what the importance of working hard was, and like why it was important. Like, why this system, holy shit, dude, stop fucking calling me or I'll kill you.
I saw your eyes keep darting.
Oh man, dude, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I'm just going to tell this dude to leave me alone. So sorry about that.
Don't worry about it.
It was an important conversation. So basically I learned that. And from that point on, like, I went out and I got out of that rehab and I started to go to college, and I was at a D3 school now, which there's nothing wrong with D3, but if you want to be a top level competitor, that's definitely very far from the top. And I was wrestling with a bunch of kids, and they were all like better than me because they had honed their craft in, but I knew that they were only better than me because they worked harder than me.
Sure.
And they wouldn't let me wrestle because I had academic probation. And I was like, okay, let me think here. And then all of a sudden I got on the mat one time and I was able to wrestle against my roommate, who was the current New England champion and like was All-American last year. And I was like, okay. And I was like tussling with him and kind of chucking him around. I was starting to take him down, and people were looking, and I was like, I can fucking do this. And people have been telling me for such a long that I'm such a screw up that I sucked. And they kind of were just putting me down because I was focused on other things. I was like, if I applied myself, I could crush all of these kids. So from that point, I kind of retreated and left school. And I was like, I'm not going to study. I'm going to focus on being an athlete. And that's what I really care about. So I just left school. I started traveling around the world doing fitness modeling. I used to be a lot skinnier and have all these kind of like angular faces and six packs and stuff. And I realized I was like, I don't really care about taking pictures. That's not really who I am. I don't live in a box. Like, I want to be out there using this strength.
Sure. Yep.
And then all of a sudden I started doing 5Ks. I started doing half marathons. Everything started to grow. And then I stumbled upon Spartan Race. And like, I was just writing about it yesterday. It was the first time in my entire life where I had actually felt like something was designed for me. Like, all of these combinations of like me wrestling, climbing trees in my backyard, running through the neighborhood to go get to my friend's house through the woods.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, this all feels like I've been doing this for like 20 years of my life, and I've just never seen it put together.
Yeah.
And it just took off. I was 22 years old, and it was good. Like,
that was the lightning bolt.
That was a lightning bolt, dude. It was a long build up to that point.
Yeah. So you were world champion for what, 6 years?
I wasn't a world champion for 6 years. I was world champion 7 times over. It took a lot of years past 6 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what does that look like? How many stages are there? Because we have a few guys at the gym that compete in Spartan Race pretty competitively, but there's like 3 or 4 different kinds of them and lengths of them, right?
There's multiple different companies. So like, I'll just give you guys the quick broad stroke of it. There's Tough Mudder, Spartan Race, OCR WC. Those are the 3 biggest brands in our company, in our sport.
Yeah.
OCR WC is like a one-off. They have a national title, a European title, and then they have the world title. And in that, there's 2 distances, and then there's a team championship, just like the affiliate cup.
Okay.
And then in Spartan Race, there's 3 distances, but for some fucking stupid reason, there's only the world championship is the longest distance. And it's just annoying. They always like, you run like a 5K, and then their world title is on a mountain where you climb 7,000 feet and run 17 miles. I was like, that isn't similar at all.
That doesn't translate.
Exactly. So it gets me real upset. And then there's Tough Mudder, and Tough Mudder had the 1 mile, the 10 mile, the 12 hour, and then the 24 hour. So I've won every distance from the 1 mile to the team 24 hour. And you basically are just kind of bopping around, going to all these different championships. Like one will be in London, one will be in Canada, one will be in Northern California, one will be in Dubai, one will be in Virginia. And every single year it kind of changes location. And just because the way that these companies are structured, they sometimes will just dump one and pick up another one, and then they'll rebuild the one that they dumped a while ago. So that's why I kind of have been all over the place, because there's no one set way to get the world title. Like in triathlon, there's Ironman World Championships, there's short course World Championships, there's Olympic distance World Championships.
Right.
So endurance sports is different.
So it's kind of a free for all based on like which company you want to compete within, and then you're also choosing distances at the same time.
And also the other big thing is cash. Some of these companies put on a lot more cash than other ones.
Really?
Like, they'll put up $100,000 prize one year for one event. Then the next year, that event's worth $10,000. You're like, I'm not going to go to that one now. And then this one's putting on $50,000. And then all of a sudden this one, so you just bounce around and try to headhunt the one that's worth the most money.
Yeah.
So how many years did you do Spartan race competitive, like professionally, where you were like, the favorite and you were winning and you did really, really well. And that was like your sport. How long did you do that for?
Technically, I did my first competitive one in 2012, and then I stopped in 2017.
Okay.
And
so for like a solid 5 years.
I won my last OCR world title in 2018.
Okay.
Like in 2017, I won the TMX world title. I won both national championships, and I won the Tough Mudder 10-mile world title. So I had a really successful year. And then all of a sudden, TMX, the second year, Tough Mudder X with a 1-mile championship, they invited Pat Vellner, Jacob Hepner.
Yeah.
Brooke Entz. They had like all these champions, and I dusted them. And I was like, you know what? After I got done, everyone's like, well, you won, but you were not as fit as them because you didn't do CrossFit. And I was like, fuck you guys. I'm losing my shit.
So did you really dust them? Like, was it like no competition?
Not even close. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but it wasn't even close. It's like the guys who win the Super Bowl by like 7 touchdowns. It was like that. And you can ask any of them. They'll be honest about it.
Yeah.
I walked through the finish line and I got angry, and I'm just so competitive. I don't think I'm better than anybody. I just will train as hard as I can and beat you at what you like to do and prove it to you that I'm better than you. I'm not going to sit back and be like, oh, that sport's stupid. I'm way better than you. I'm just not going to try.
Yeah, you're not just going to talk shit without backing it up.
So I tried, and I trained super hard from the end of 2018 through till 2019. And then I started to campaign really hard to get into the CrossFit Games. Did that, and that's brought us to like this point. Yeah.
So actually, when we competed against each other, you had just been named one of the wild cards for 2019.
Yep. They piss tested me and everything. It was a blast. It was very fun.
So what was that like? I mean,
it was bittersweet.
Yeah.
I mean, every jerk under the sun who had an opinion definitely let me know about it.
Yeah.
There were a few people who were kind enough to be like, hey man, this is really cool. Like, I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems so silly to me that, like, I thought about it today when I was going on a run. After I didn't do that well at the CrossFit Games, a lot of people shit on me. Matt Frazier didn't reach out and shit on me because he didn't need to. He was the champion. But people who are just below that tier, like Brent Fikowski, and Brent and I are friendly now.
Yeah, you guys went at it for a little while.
Yeah, we duped it. He went after me, but that's because certain people who need to still jock for position and their certainty in themselves and confidence in themselves, they need to bark like certain dogs. You know, certain dogs just bark all the time.
Sure. I have one of those dogs.
Exactly. But some of those people just needed to bark because I don't know why I made them feel insecure about themselves. The reality was I was showing up based on a rule that the CrossFit industry designed and offered. And then I competed. And whether or not I won or I didn't win should be no consequence of their opinion.
Yeah.
It should just be, hey guys, we show up and we do our jobs. And it was an experience. Like I'm definitely very grateful that I got to do it. Only the reason why I'm upset is because I really built up this whole idea of what the weekend would be like. And then the cut system, I think, really took away the opportunity to really showcase why I wanted to be an athlete there.
Yeah.
I didn't get to do any of the things of why Hunter McIntyre is a 7-time world champion. I only got to do that snatch rope climb thing and then the row thruster walk on your hands. You would never walk into the gym and I would never try to brag to you that I'm the best guy in the world at that stuff.
Right.
But if you put me in that rucksack the following day, I would have dusted everybody. And then if you'd given me some of the other opportunities, I would have been very competitive.
Yeah.
And like, I even think about it, I would not have been able, it would have been a struggle for me to get the first bar during that clean ladder. And you would have known, and you'd been like, well, Hunter's not strong enough. And that's okay.
But that's not your specialty. That's not why they invited you to compete.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I kind of want to touch on too, and I don't know what the CrossFit community still thinks of you, but at the time when you had been announced the wild card, there was a lot of people that were putting out a lot of like negative stuff, like not in a way like you're a shitty person, but more in the way of like, watch him get dusted once he gets to the games. And also like, there was a lot of like talk about how arrogant you were and blah, 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 blah. It is what it is. But then when we met at Granite Games, it was like, hold on, like he's actually a pretty cool dude. Like, and we had a great time. We competed well, like everybody had fun. And so I left that competition thinking like, he's not a bad person. Like he's not what the community is making him out to be as this bad guy. So I think there was just a lot of, I don't know, like defense mechanisms being put up by the CrossFit industry, kind of having an intruder almost come in and like, you know, it was like the underdog bad guy coming into our realm of fitness and hoping that you got crushed. And then it was just kind of like not fortunate events for you to start out the weekend with.
And it's all okay. I don't understand why. And the CrossFit industry is unlike any other industry because it's completely built on the crowdsourcing position. Like it was almost built off of social media. So social media is very much like a very powerful point of control over the industry.
Sure.
I mean, like you guys nearly cannibalized yourself because the way that Greg Glassman was treated after that stupid tweet. Yeah. Yes, he screwed up. Did they deserve to like tear him down to the fucking core and then almost dismantle the entire company? No, I don't think that was a smart idea. I'm not a person trying to talk about politics or any kind of stupid thing on this podcast, but it's pretty crazy the way that some of the people react in the CrossFit world. And
it's like people almost never on the CrossFit industry. Like I feel like anytime there's CrossFit news, the reaction for the community is almost never positive, regardless of whatever it is. It's changes to the open format. People are up in arms about that.
Yeah.
It's changes to like, I remember people losing their shit when Greg Glassman said that he wishes that they had like not put the kipping pull up before the strict pull up. And like people lost their mind about that. There's always something that somebody is losing.
I mean, it's just like with any media source though, like it's one polar opposite. And so they're trying to find a reaction out of the community. And then that usually gains views. And then, you know, the domino effect kind of goes on. That's just how it is. And so you were just kind of the face of like, look at this bad guy coming in with this ridiculous mullet and his cheetah print shirts. Like, let's all hate him and hopefully he doesn't do well at the games. And then, you know,
you guys got what you wanted.
Right. So you go to the games, right? It didn't go as well as you wanted, but what happens after that? Like that weekend ended because of that cut system. Are you done with CrossFit? Were you done with CrossFit at the time? Or were you like, you know, fuck it, I want to go back, train even harder and try and qualify on my own?
I did want to train hard and qualify on my own. I was going to go to a sanctional. I was supposed to go to the Asbury Park games in June and I started to rebuild. And then that got canceled.
Yeah. We actually had qualified for that too. That's weird.
There you go. It would have been a blast.
Yeah.
Do I think that I'm CrossFit champion? No. But do I still want to go back and go experience what I wanted from the start? Yes.
Yeah.
Will I be honest saying that I have no freaking clue what's going on with COVID right now? And also based on the stability of the company of CrossFit, is it worthwhile putting all of my energy towards it when I only probably have a handful of years competing in?
Yeah, maybe.
Sure.
But that's what I'm trying to say. So I'm just kind of on the fence right now. Let's say we have like one stable year moving forward and then they have all of their plans like completely buttoned up and it looks clean. Yeah, I would love to go back. I'd love to go to a sanctional and just go kick some ass. Like I've done all the numbers in my head, but now there's a whole new platform of doing it.
I was going to say, like, what is a sanctional now?
I know. So like now I'm a very analytical person. So I'm just kind of like sitting back and I'm like, what the hell is going to happen? I was just on the phone with Chandler Smith and I was trying to discuss with him how the heck he's going to prepare for this and like what his season looks like. And I'm just trying to learn even from the highest level pros. And some of them even seem a little bit confused about what's going on.
We have a buddy that actually has been training with us for the past like 4 months, who just left he's going to be a lawyer in the military, in the Army actually. And he came in first in the Army's fitness team, like their qualifier competition. Yep. So they're piecing together this team. He goes, 3 weeks in a qualifier. He's planning on trying to make that part of his job. And then he takes first. The week later, they announce that the whole season is like completely new. They don't have a team anymore because it has to be from the same gym and you have to live within the same, like 100-mile radius of the gym you compete for. And it's such a fragile environment currently where planning long-term to compete in the sport is really difficult.
Sure. And listen, I hate always saying these kind of things on podcasts because some people get discouraged. I think anybody listening to this should be as positive as possible, but don't get all hyped up. Like I'm intentionally deciding, because they just canceled one of my events in February, that I'm not going to compete in anything for the first quarter of the year. It will just keep my mental sanity in place. I'll know that I don't have to like ramp up and get ready for anything anytime soon. And then as soon as March 1st hits, or April 1st, whatever it is, like I'm just going to, at that point, just start to point things on the calendar and be like, all right, now start training for that.
Nice. So are you not doing the CrossFit Open then?
I'll do it, but I don't think the CrossFit Open is really important. Like I think you could basically just skate through on the first section if you're in decent shape. Like I think all of us are top 1,000 in the world in the Open right now. Sure. I think that will mean that we'll make it through. Because don't you have to be only top 250 in the United States?
Well, it kind of depends because, it depends on if you're. It depends on if you're individual or your team, right? Like I'm a team athlete, so
yeah, you guys just second. You're in April, right?
Right. So, I have to do the individual Open, but then that moves us as a team, which is now 4 people, to the team quarterfinal.
Yeah,
and then that quarterfinal then puts you into the semifinal, which is apparently like regionals and. I don't know. Again, like we're kind of playing it by ear as well, but with the changes happening so fast, we're constantly like, we had plans to compete with girls that were not in the state. And now you have to be within 100 miles and it's wild. So I'm glad that you're going to do the Open.
Right now, I'm doing the Open, but I'll tell you right now, I haven't trained any handstand push-ups. I haven't trained snatches or squat cleans or thrusters.
Yeah.
Like right now I'm just training as if I was going to HYROX. I'm doing chest to bar pull-ups, strongman work, squats, deadlifts, bench. So
that's kind of what I want to get into that. Cause we had Adam Klink actually on the show, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, maybe. Good dude, right? Like really super good dude.
Yeah.
And, I know he was there. Obviously you were there, but I don't really know much about what HYROX is.
It's interesting. That's what they're German. So they're not really good at translating things in the US.
It's very precise.
I've had a lot of conversations with them being like, hey, this is really cool, but I don't think anybody really knows what this is. They're like, of course it's fitness. Like, yeah, but there's a lot of fitness. Like explain why. So the way that I've explained it and I'm trying to help them market it through is basically they've taken like all of the Olympic and major league sports and tried to put it into 10 movements and 10 laps to see who's the most well-rounded person. So first station, you go into ski erg. That's like Nordic skiing, which is in the Olympics. Second station, you go into sled push, which is like a power sport, football, rugby, any wrestling, like bobsled. Exactly. All like Olympic high-level sports. Then you go sled pull, same exact thing. It's just a strong kind of movement. Then you're going into burpee broad jump. That's a fitness movement. Then you go into row. That's an Olympic sport. Then you go into farmer's carry, which is a strongman movement. Then you go lunge and then wall ball, both fitness movements. And obviously in between every single one of them, it is running 1,000 meter.
And that's like how long, like when you did the event, how long did it take you?
The world record's 57 minutes and 38 seconds.
Ouch.
Did you set it?
Yeah.
No big deal. Whatever.
He says the world record. Like it's not his world record.
The world record.
Some very fit, handsome person.
It's in my pocket right now.
I carry
it all the time.
So how many years have they been doing this?
It's actually been going on for 3 years. It's humongous in Europe.
Really?
Huge. They're having events with almost 4,000 people there, which is kind of unheard of for the fitness industry.
It's
basically the easiest point of entry for a functional fitness athlete. Like, you guys are way, way more high level than the average fitness athlete, but someone who spends thousands of dollars a year on a gym membership and works out all the time, and their only opportunity to kind of showcase themselves is the open. I think this is a really cool opportunity.
So why hasn't CrossFit as a community grabbed onto this a little bit more and like brought it to that stage?
It just came to the United States a year ago. They had 3 events in the United States, and it was growing so fast. Like, it was amazing. Like, people were all there. I was starting to see all these people from the community. Everyone was in love with it. And then next thing you know, COVID hits.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, COVID just kicked everybody in the nuts.
Was there one in Chicago?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think there was some CrossFitters from the area that went down there and did, there's a team version of it as well.
2-person team. Yeah. So you could go as duo, bros, or guy, girl, or chick.
That's kind of neat.
That's a really, really fun method. So I think the way that it works is you have to run together every single lap, but you can split the stations. You could go 10 and 10 on wall balls until 100. You guys can split the sled. Like, I did like a publicity stunt where I raced Jacob Hepner and Chandler, and we just duked it out to the end. And that was a freaking blast.
Nice.
Yeah, that's sweet. Maybe I'll, hopefully after COVID, that would be pretty cool.
Is that up on social media?
That race?
Yeah. Is it on YouTube?
You can find it.
Oh, like the race with
yeah.
Chandler and
Yeah. You can
nice. We'll tag that in the podcast description so people can check out that throwdown.
So what's the qualifying process like?
Well, at this point, like, it's first come, first serve in the pro field because they haven't established records over here. Like, they haven't established a pro class because there hasn't been enough races.
Sure.
Over there in Europe, they actually have you have to have qualified and show something, had a prior race. And then there's open waves all day long. You can do whatever the heck you want.
Sure.
Just like open-ended. And I'd say probably, let's say 12 months from now, if you signed up the first event, you guys couldn't make it into the pro field. And let's say you had a really good event and you won your age group or came top 10, then you could make it into the pro field.
That's interesting. So is that kind of like what you're focusing on right now is just continuing to dominate HYROX?
It's a blast. I mean, you get in such sick shape from it, dude. Like, I'm insanely strong right now and I can run really fast and I don't have to walk on my hands or do touch and go snatches. And I'm like, well, that's not bad. So I'm having a blast, and I'm just kind of being a headhunter right now. I'm kind of trying to find my groove. I want to find out what's the next coolest thing, and it's just kind of a headache with everything kind of being set back. So I don't really care if you guys called me and said, "Hey, Hunter, we're going to try to set a world record in our gym to try to see who could row the most, meters in 24 hours, I'd probably show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have would you ever go back to only being a Spartan racer?
I almost did this year. I'm going to train very, very hard for the Spartan Race World Championships in Dubai. They finally changed the World Championships to a location where the elevation gain is kind of insignificant.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of these courses, it's just like, it's so skewed towards being a high level mountain runner and weighing 140 pounds or less that it's just, it's not a sport that you and I could even contend in by any means.
Sure.
So this is finally the first time where I feel like the playing field's leveled. And walking away with a world title in Spartan race is huge. Like, the best I've ever come in Spartan race world championships for the full distance is 3rd place. So can't live like that.
What's the full distance? 17
It's called
miles?
the Beast. It's called the Beast. Like, the first year I ever did it, I think it was 14 miles and 6,000 to 7,000 feet of climbing.
Oof.
And like 40 obstacles. God. And you had to carry an 80-pound sandbag, 1,000, basically like a half mile up a double black diamond ski hill. It's insane.
Yeah, it doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, and the guys who are winning these things, dude, you could put all of them on the scale combined, and they'd probably match one of us. They're tiny people.
That's wild. Like, what's the weight on the bag?
The double sandbag carries like 120 pounds together.
So they're like carrying their body weight for this.
Practically like 90%.
They're like runners. They're not.
They're
Muscle
true
ponies.
blue runners. They're true blue runners, and they're strong. They're like the guy on the cross country team that was like probably like third place all the time.
Gotcha.
But had a little bit of extra muscle mass.
Like deadlift a good amount.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're tough. I'm not talking shit about them at all. They are very
tough.
So the phrase that I always love that you use is muscle pony, right?
Bulk pony.
So
muscle pony is another hot term you can call me if you want to.
Yeah. So you and I are very similar in size, like almost to the T. I hate running. Hate running. Rowing is like my thing. Can't stand running. I'll do it, but only because I have to. Running is like your thing. So what got you into running? Like, how did you become, a really, really good runner?
It started because my dad made me do cross country, and then he realized I was really good. And in my senior year, he would wake me up every morning, 5 a.m., and he would chase me with a car for 3 miles.
What?
Yeah, he would chase me with a car with this the cruise control on from like 10 to 13 miles an hour, which is an insane pace now that I think about it. And he would honk at me and be like, "You're getting past, you pussy. This is you losing championships." Like, Dad, it's 5 a.m. I want to go home.
Yeah. So he only did that to try and make you a better cross-country runner?
Yeah, he had no clue what he was doing. He was just like, well, I figure if I'm driving a car, which is faster than him, then he's going to have to get faster. So like every morning I woke up for almost 6 months, maybe even longer, I was basically running at race pace, full speed, and I got super fast.
For how long? Like what was the distance that you were running?
About 3 to 4 miles. We just do this loop behind my house in the mountains. Like it was like 3 miles, about like 600 feet to 800 feet of climbing.
Did you grow up in California?
No, I grew up in Connecticut and New York.
Oh, I didn't know that. So what brought you out to California? Why do you live in California now? And how did you get the posse that you have?
Because he doesn't like 11-degree weather.
Duh.
No, it's just super random, man. I was going to school, and I was telling you guys that I was like really not into the idea of going to school, like studying a stupid degree to become an athlete. I was like, I don't think this makes any sense. Like my dream job was really to be Steve Irwin. And I told them that I was like, I want to be the crocodile hunter. And they're like, we don't have a degree for that. We'll put you in the And I was like, this sucks. So one of my friends who we called Modini, he had like lots of money all the time. We couldn't figure out why. And he would always come back like from like disappearing for a week at a time. And he'd have all this cash and all these party favors, if you know what I mean. And we just get lit. And then one day he just like left.
The favors.
Like I'm transferring to California, and I was like, that's common in college. Like kids just transfer. I was like, see you, Mo. He calls me one day. He goes, Hunter, I want you to come out to California. I got something to tell you. And I was like, whatever, Mo. And he's like, seriously, check your email inbox. First class ticket to California. I'm 21, 22, and he's 23. And I was like, who does this stuff? Like you don't buy first class tickets for your wife. And like he flew me out there, and I get out there and he goes, I made a lot of money. I've got a brilliant idea. He's like, I want you to travel around with me and keep me in shape while I go to all these meetings. I was like, damn. Whatever, bro. I was like, I'm in California now. I hate school anyways.
Sure.
Nice.
So we started like that, and it kind of fell apart within like a year, and everybody was like, hey, this is like not going to really happen. We're going to go back. And I was just looking around. I was like, nah, I'm not going back.
Yeah, for real.
I just stayed out here, and I just climbed the ladder, man. Like first I was a nobody sleeping on people's couches, and now like, building my way up to own my own place in Malibu.
Yeah, which sounds pretty sick too.
That's a wild way to go. I mean, most people, you go to college and you end up staying in the town where you go to college. So
yeah,
that's wild. Just kind of bouncing around. And
yeah, it's just wild that we're in Michigan. It's like I'm literally looking at snow right now outside of my front door. And your story this morning on Instagram was like the craziest sunrise of like a California, like picture that should be on a postcard that we would find in a CVS local.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I don't necessarily think we're doing the right thing. I listened to an interview one time with Kid Rock, and he says, I could live in LA and own a condo or a small house, or I could live in Michigan and I can own 3 houses and fly a private jet wherever I wanted to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And he does that
I will
too.
tell you right now. He does, dude. I'm telling you right now, just to step out my door, it's going to cost me $1 for every breath. It's expensive.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse. I mean, it's the kind of thing where I always tell people, if you want to move to Malibu, especially California, especially Malibu, it's like going to the casino and sitting at the big kids table. Like every single set of cards that they put down on the table, your ante's $10,000. Whereas like you and I could go hit the penny slots elsewhere.
Yeah. So what's your training environment look like? Like you live on a ranch that has a ton of land. You have a gym at your place. Do you have people that you train with regularly, or are you training by yourself?
I usually train by myself. I'll tell you all the nuts and bolts of it all. So we're almost at 2,000 feet right here. And there's a trail that goes on the front of my house straight down to the ocean. It takes 5 miles to like hit the sand. And that's just under 3,000 feet to get back up, because you can go up and down like a couple peaks.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. And there's trails that literally go from outside of my house, literally each direction, 50 miles. You never have to hit a road, which is pretty cool. Yeah. I've got a couple bike partners and a couple run partners. But for the most part, bike rides are just chill and fun. That's like the way I get to conversate with my friends. I typically lift weights by myself, unless it's with like 1 or 2 other guys sporadically. Just because it's like so easy. If we all met up with each other and I was like, all right, let's squat. Like I put on 2 plates, and then you put on 2 plates and 25s on top. Then I put 25s on top of that. Now we're at 325. Then you put 25 on top of that. And then someone puts a 45 on top. Yeah. And like my session was only supposed to be like, and now we're at 110%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so easy to do that. And especially if you want to be like a pro level athlete, you have to learn how to like bowl with the bumpers on, like stay in your lane, play it safe. So I've been pretty smart about that. I have a running coach named Rich Diaz that literally, if I work with him for like 4 to 6 weeks straight, I can take off like on a 10K, I could probably take off 15 to 30 seconds per mile.
Wow.
Like, very good.
He's the man.
He's so good.
Nice. Do you like
unbelievable?
Do you swim at all?
Nah, that's for pussies.
My man.
I'm not into that shit.
That's how you feel about running.
I know. I love swimming. Like any machine and swimming, I love it. Running, not a big fan, but I'll do it.
I just feel like
you just don't like cardio. You're just really, really strong.
Hard.
You're just really strong in one place, and that's it.
That's okay. Good for you, dude.
Specialist.
Yeah.
So let's do some rapid fire questions, just kind of as we wrap up. We got some goofy ones. We have one that we specifically ask everybody on the episode just to mess with them. Hopefully you've had enough of your Sailor Jerry's. What is your last, well, actually we didn't really get into nutrition, but I guess we'll get into it right now. What's your last meal? Like you're dying tomorrow morning. You have one meal for dinner tonight. What is it?
I thought about this the other day. I thought about if I really hated the prison guards, I'd have them make me like a 24-hour like pot roast that's been slow roasted, and then a souffle, which is really hard to make.
Sure.
And then I put my fork to it and say, I'm not hungry anymore. And
that's a good answer.
Truth be told, I'd probably have like a shepherd's pie or like a good steak ribeye.
Meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like it.
If you were a like professional wrestler or boxer, MMA fighter, what would your walkout song be?
This is the Real Shit by Marilyn Manson. You know, I applied to the WWE and they offered me a job because I got Macho Man Randy Savage on my ribs. I turned down the job because it was the most shit offer I've ever seen. But it's a dream to be a wrestler. I'd crush.
Really? Well, with the wrestling background too. Actually, Tully was just telling me, he was like, have you seen that video of Hunter throwing that guy into the mud? And I was like, what are you talking?
It was the Spartan race ad. I don't know if you know this. Forever. It's just like it's like a 5-second video of you wrestling a guy in like a ring, and you just like toss him. Yeah, I look at the comments and people are like, that's dumb. It's not a test of endurance. I'm like, because you're a pussy and you get your ass kicked.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Shut up.
If you weren't an athlete, what would you be doing?
I'd be in hedge funds with my brother.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's too much money in that stuff. I'm good at it too. I'm just good at talking to people.
Yeah.
Half of it is talking to people into giving you their money. The other half of it is spending it wisely.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
If peanut butter wasn't called peanut butter, what would it be called?
I don't know. Nut spread?
That's the one we always have to ask because it always just throws people for a loop. Yeah, nut spread's a pretty good one. I'll take some extra nut spread.
I tried to make a peanut butter company for a while about 6 years ago called Fit Butter, and it was just pictures like really jacked peanuts on the cover. I actually came up with some really good concoctions because I have to eat so many calories the day. Peanut butter was like a go-to thing for me.
Yeah.
It just took forever. I wrecked like 2 Vitamix blenders from trying to
blend peanut
butter. Yeah, it doesn't work that well.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for for making the time for us to have you on. Where can people find you? Where can people follow you? Like, obviously, the next probably year is still up in the air for you competing. But if people what do you have going on that people can follow?
If you just go to Hunter McIntyre on Instagram, house training to see what we're doing training wise, I would say probably by April, you'll see me competing at a high level again, HYROX, Spartan race. I would love to go do some CrossFit stuff if it opens back up again, trying to go after some really gnarly world records. We are building the Murph Invitational. I don't think I can use the word Murph because people are lame and they might sue me. We'll probably call it the Memorial Day Challenge. Our idea is basically we're going to have 20 athletes on the male and female side, Memorial Day weekend show up. Each of them bring $5,000 from a sponsor, and we're all going to compete and raise money for the charity. Obviously, we're going to try to get that lame-ass company, Guinness Book of World Records, to recertify us again.
Yeah.
And we're going to do some great things. We're going to try to bring the community together. I will tell you this much. I watched this whole year have everything taken away from me. So I've done a lot this year to actually give back. And I built my own companies and gave back and raised money for the community. And I'm realizing that's a lot more fun and it's a lot more controllable. So you'll see a lot more coming from my end and my whole team. They work very hard on it.
That's awesome.
Man, it was great hearing from you. Your story is wild, and I think it's going to be entertaining for people. All sorts of good stuff.
I'm hoping you come back to CrossFit so I can compete against you again.
Hey man, I would love to compete. You just give me a place and a venue and let's get down and dirty.
Yeah. I just want to make it very clear. Our team beat your team, just to make it clear. I mean, you're like
what did you guys come? We took 12th place. Would you take like 10th or something? Don't be bragging.
No. We took 7th. We were out of all of the teams that qualified, we were in first. But then if you remember, like a week before the competition, they invited 6 super teams.
Oh yeah, I know.
So we would have taken.
We were dominating a lot of the events, and then the wheels just would always fall off.
It was a lot of fun, though. It was like, so much fun. Yeah. So hopefully you come back to the
teams. We're super teams.
Yeah. And then, I'm going to come out to California. I'm not asking for an invite. I'm just going to invite myself to your ranch, and I'll find you.
You guys are welcome. As soon as
this
thing is off, I have beds for you guys. You're set.
It would be awesome.
Killer. Appreciate it.
Thank you again. Thank you for making the time. I know you're crazy busy. And good luck with this next year of competing.
Stay macho, guys.
Dude.
Yeah, brother.
Can we use that as like the ending? Stay macho.
Yeah, brother. Say it whenever you want, dude.
You don't want to step in the ring with the Macho Man, Randy.
You don't want to sweaty and mingle with the man.
There we go.
Did you quit recording?
No.
Oh, thank God.
Urban and Balance boys out.